The worst British pilot of World War II was also one of the best British pilots of World War II. How are we going to reconcile this? Let's find out in the hangar. Hello, welcome to In the Hangar. I'm Dan Milliken, and we are sponsored by so many great companies and organizations. Check them out in the links below. Let's get to this. Ray Harris Jr. from Central Virginia joining us. Ray, I love your podcast, World War II. It's amazing, and I've really looked forward to being able to talk about some of these aviation things from World War II.
Yeah. And I appreciate driving halfway across the country to talk to you about it.
You didn't fly?
No. Please don't judge me on it. No.
But at least you can talk about World War II aviation from a point of expertise. The interesting thing that when I reached out to you for this, and I pitched some topic ideas, Battle of Britain, of course, and you mentioned the wacky pilots of Malta.
Yes.
And then I listened to the podcast that you described that, and I was amazed by Warby.
Right.
Here, and you took me through his story about he should not have been flying. The guy couldn't land. He couldn't take off.
He couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time, much less fly. But no, he's and this is one of the things that's fascinating about him. I've always been fascinated by oddballs, misfits, people who cannot operate in a normal life. They just can't function, biological, environmental, whatever. It just doesn't work for them until they find something that absolutely fires their imagination. And then it starts to come together. And for this guy and the other gentleman, it's flying, their love of flying. So Warby.
Yeah, take us to it.
Let's just call it. So Adrian Warburton, Warby, but he gets called Warby, so let's go with that. So he's just goofy right out of the womb. He's socially awkward. He's a loner. He doesn't know how to talk to people. His father's in the military, so he is going to be shunted off to schools because that's what British officers did. So even by the age 2, the teachers can tell something's not right about this guy. He can't talk to anybody. He's a loner. But he's not mean, he's not cruel, he's not a bully, he's just placid. They just can't get him to care about anything. So anyway, fast forward, he's about 10 years old, he sees a flying show. He's in love. Oh, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is it. So he tells his parents, and his parents are like, and this is mid to late 1930s, and his parents go, no, you can't go in the RAF because war is coming, and war is dangerous. We want you to go in the Army. He's like, the Army's kind of known for being dangerous during times of war. But anyway.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. So he goes, his parents force him to go into the Army, but he's so goofy he can't do anything right. In less than a year, he's out. They're like, we're afraid you're going to shoot our own guys. Please get out of here. So he's out, and his parents are desperate, so they let him join the RAF. He joins, and this is where I'm supposed to say, and he lived happily ever after. Not even close, not even close. So he's going through the training courses, and he's hitting minimum standards for everything. He cannot do anything right. He certainly can't taxi, he can't take off, and he can't fly, he can't land, and I think those are kind of important. So,
as a pilot, I would say, usually there are some standards.
Basics, yeah.
Yeah.
So clearly it's not going to work out, but he's got his pilot license now. But no one likes him. The commanding officer of his squadron doesn't like him, and he wants to get rid of him. But nobody will take him because his reputation has preceded him. So Warby's 20 years old. He's depressed. All he's allowed to do is fly targets. That's all he's allowed. Everybody else is getting in flat.
And they're shooting at him.
Yeah. They probably want to shoot him. But so he's shooting at targets, and he's miserable. He meets a slightly older woman who's got a kid. He falls in love because he doesn't know any better, and they get married. And now he's suddenly responsible for a woman, a child, and he's raised massive debts in town because he's not good at money management either. So the woman finally goes, "You're a loser." She leaves him. She's gone with her kid. And his boss says, "Okay, look, I've been trying to get rid of you for the last 6 months, but nobody will take you. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help you clean up your finances. I'm going to help you clean up your mess. And then I'm going to send you to Malta because they are so desperate, they'll take anybody. They would even take me. So here's what I want you to do. And you've got one shot. You better get this right. Malta needs light to medium range bombers, reconnaissance bombers, because Admiral Cunningham in the Mediterranean has decided to take the fight to the Italians, but he needs reconnaissance photos. So during all this, Warby's not even allowed to fly. He's a navigator, so because we don't even trust you. So you navigate. So his boss says, I want you to plot out a trip from southern UK directly to Malta. We don't have time to put these planes on ships. We're going to fly it there. France is occupied by the Germans. He's got to fly by Italy. He's got to fly by Sicily, and so this is very dangerous.
What time is this?
September of 1940. Thank you very much.
September
Yeah.
1940.
I assume everybody can read my mind, and I
Right. No,
apologize.
it's
Okay, cool. So Warby, he sits down with the weather reports. He sits down with the latest German positions and the Italian positions, and he puts it all together, and he plots it out. The Admiral Cunningham wanted 5 Martin, Maryland bombers. London says, no, we don't have 5, you can have 3. These first flew in 1939. They're American-made, pretty solid craft. So they fly, and they get there, and they land in Malta safely. Everything's fine. And everybody's like, how did Warby do that? You can't do anything right. But somehow he was able, because it's flying, because it's his passion, he's able to make all the noise go away in his head, and he plots this out, and it works perfectly. In fact, a couple weeks later, the other 2 Maryland bombers are trying to come over, and they get shot down. So whatever Warby did, he did it right. So Warby's there, he's all excited, he's ready to fly, but everybody knows about him. So he's not allowed to fly, he's only a navigator. So Admiral Cunningham finally goes, I want some photos of Taranto because I'm gonna hit that. Now the problem is, Admiral Cunningham's got old, obsolete biplanes on his carriers. He knows he needs the best intel so his men can get in, attack, get out without losing anybody. So give me some photos. So the men on Malta go, okay, so let's get a crew, let's get a plane over there, let's take these photos now that we've got these bombers, and let's get Admiral Cunningham what he wants. Everybody's afraid of Admiral Cunningham, and they should be. This man goes through staffs like it's nothing, so he's very intense. So his name is Titch. Titch is looking around at his pilots, and he goes, who's going to fly the plane? They've all got Malta dog, which is a form of dysentery. So they're all on their backs. Everybody who's not born on the island, when you arrive there, it's only a matter of when and how bad you're going to get Malta dog. It happens to everybody. And so Titch is looking around, and he's going, I need a pilot, Hi, Warby. Would you please fly this for me? Warby's like, yeah, sure, I'd love to, boss. Anybody want to fly with Warby?
Crickets.
No. Yeah. So he has to voluntold some people. I think I mentioned this. Warby can't take off very well.
No.
So he gets in the Maryland bomber, and there's a crew of 3. He starts taxiing down the thing, and it's shaking, and it's right, and it's getting worse, and the plane is doing this. Snap! One of the wheels break off. Plane comes sliding to a halt. Warby gets out of the plane. He goes up to his superior, Titch, and Titch, who's Australian, who wants to kill him, says, I ordered 5 Maryland bombers. They sent me 3. You wrecked one. Now I'm down to 2. I need these photos, or Admiral Cunningham's going to have my head, and I'm going to have your head. So can you get in another Maryland bomber, and I want to watch you practice taxiing up and down until I'm happy, and then you can take off. Warby says, yeah, sorry, boss. So he gets in. He takes off again, and he barely gets off the plane, shaking really. He's still, he's doing it, and he takes off. And on this flight over to Taranto, however it happens, whyever it happens, things coalesce in Warby's brain. All of the goofiness is gone. All of the lack of confidence is gone. He flies in. He flies lower than anybody's ever flown. He flies slower than anybody's ever flown. He gets the best photos Admiral Cunningham has ever seen. Admiral Cunningham is like, this is amazing. I know exactly how I want to approach this attack. And he doesn't know Warby by name. He just says, whoever this guy is, he's my guy from now on. So Warby is still goofy as heck, but when he gets in the plane, he transforms. It's like Clark Kent and Superman. It just clicks for him. So anyway, so this goes on and on and on. Warby goes up, and he's taking these amazing photos, and I think he's got a photographic memory because his after-action reports, verbally, he's not great at writing, verbally are so detailed. The people who are planning the attacks go, that's great, I know exactly what I want to do. So he's just doing these amazing things, and then like the crazy stories comes in, like it's a really cloudy day, nobody wants to take off. Warby goes, I'll do it. So he takes off, barely, stays right over the waves, and flies right over the waves all the way to Sicily or all the way to southern Italy. And the crew was like, oh my God, we're going to die, that kind of thing. And when Warby's flying there and when he's flying back, he's almost like he's bored. He's got his foot up on the dash. He's like, oh, he's just flying his plane. And these guys are like, we're going to get shot. But he gets these amazing photos, and he can remember everything. And one time he flew to get some photos, and he comes back, and someone said, did you know that there's some ship rigging on your tail? He goes, no, I didn't say. That's how low he flew. So anyway, so he does these amazing things, and the Italians catch on to Warby. So they start sending up more planes, they have more patrols, and they start shooting at him. Warby's the kind of person, he's like, yeah, I know they're shooting at me, but as soon as I get these photos, I'll care. But until that moment, I don't care. But the pilot has got he operates the camera, but he's also got his own guns in the front. So occasionally he has to take out an Italian pilot. Photo, and he just goes home. And
He actually shoots some down?
Oh, yeah. He just, but he doesn't care because it's not a part of what matters.
It's all about the picture.
It's all about the picture.
He's totally Hollywood.
Exactly. He Mr. Hollywood. So they're so busy. And Malta's being bombed 3 times a day, hundreds of bombers, hundreds of fighters coming over. Life is just all heck. And no one really has time to think about it. But somewhere around November, someone goes, did Warby shoot down another plane? They went, yeah, I think he did. How many planes did he shot down? I don't know. Let's go look it up. So they go to the after-action reports, and they look it all up. He's given an award. He's given a citation. He's given a medal. And pretty soon, he's called 6-Medal Warburton. And he's a freaking hero to the people. Admiral Cunningham loves him. He's still goofy. But he literally becomes a hero. And at the end of the day, he gets a girl. There's a local girl, he falls in love, they fall in love, they love each other, everything's great. So he goes from misfit to hero, and he gets the girl. All because of his passion for flying.
Well, and he found his place.
Exactly right. He found what mattered to him, and somehow it allowed him to bring everything together in his head. And he's going to go on, and I think his Sir Arthur Tedder, who's C&C air officer, calls him the most important pilot of the RAF. You wouldn't want to hang out with him. He's goofy as heck, but if you need a mission...
He can barely take off. He can barely land.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's the most important pilot of...
He's the most important pilot of the RAF, and he helps keep Malta in the war during its darkest time.
And how important was Malta to the war?
Okay, so almost everybody in London wanted to give up on Malta. It's too exposed. The Italians are right there. This is not going to work. We cannot defend Malta. And Churchill says, no, we will hold on to Malta. We promised the Maltese people we would defend them. We're going to give it everything we got, which is why a whole bunch of convoys come, but they get sunk. They try to send over planes. They get shot down. So Malta is just literally the backwater of the war. But what's going to happen, and along with the second guy, is because Malta can stay in the war for the Allies, they can project power in any direction in the Mediterranean. Saving Malta means saving North Africa, which means eventually the Americans are going to be able to land in North Africa. Saving North Africa, saving Egypt, saving the Suez, saving the Middle East, and saving all of that oil for the Allied war cause. So one man helped make a huge difference in this entire theater that eventually saw the end of Rommel. It saw Italy conquered, and of course, and then they push up from there. But it's people like him that kept Malta in the war.
What happened to Warby?
He goes on, he's always goofy, but he goes on, he goes to other assignments. What it is there were so many pilots shot down over Malta, there were so many planes lost, that they actually start feeling bad for these pilots. So what it is they eventually move them out of there. They say, look, you've flown so many hours, you've flown so many missions, and thank you for your service, but we don't have the right to ask you to keep going until you're eventually shot down. That's not what we do. So they eventually send him to Alexandria. He has other assignments, but his heyday, his glory, his finding himself happens at Malta. Yeah.
Okay, the other person. So I don't think I've gotten to this in your podcast.
Okay, all right. So like I said, Adrian Warburton is pretty calm, pretty placid. The next guy, his name is George Burling. He's from Quebec, Canada. Probably the best way to describe him. If Pappy Boyington of Baa Baa Black Sheep and Warby had a baby, it would be
George.
It would be George. George loves flying. He's a natural athlete. Reflexes, eye-hand coordination, spatial awareness, the whole package. But he hates authority. He hates taking orders. He hates being told what to do. And yet he's in the RAF.
Oh, yeah, that's like every pilot here.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a natural flyer. He joins the RAF. He's got a bit of an attitude, but he's just too good to let go. So he's involved in when Churchill is sending air squadrons over to France during the Battle of France. But George doesn't like orders. He's like, okay, we're going to go up. We're going to go in as a team. We're going to go in as a squadron. We're going to go over here and we'll do this. He's like, you got it, sir. And as soon as they cross over into French territory, he turns away, doesn't say anything, and he goes hunting. All George wants to do is two things. He wants to fly and he wants to fight. Nothing else matters to him. Respect for superior officers, nothing. He's got a major attitude. So after he does this a couple of times, they say, you're out of here. You're going to the island of misfit pilots, Malta. We don't care. There's a good chance you're going to be killed. You're out of here. So he goes to Malta. And and he actually gets there like 2 months before Warby did. But this is when Malta is being pounded. And when George goes up, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to break away, and he's just going to go shoot 109s. So he goes up with his squadron. He breaks away. Their job is to take out the bomber. Yes, the fighters can cause damage to Malta, but it's the bombers that have to be taken out. So they go up, and the idea is to go after the bombers. George turns away, and he shoots the tail off of a 109, which is pretty impressive. But there was another 109 behind him who's shooting him. He doesn't care. He's like Warby. Until I finish my task, I don't care. But he shoots the plane, and he goes home. No one sees this happen because they kind of got away. When George gets mad, he's only got one word that he uses, and that's screwball. You're not giving me credit for this. Screwball. Malta's hot. Screwball. There's bugs everywhere. That's screwball. I can't get enough to eat because we can't get enough rations. That's screwball. But he's dealing with British pilots. The British pilots are like, guess what? From now on, your name is Screwball. That's what we're going to call you. And he doesn't care because he just wants to fly and fight. So anyways, he goes up.
Oh, let me interrupt.
Yeah.
What plane was he flying?
He was flying Hurricanes at first because they were begging for Spitfires, and Churchill's like, yeah, no, not now.
Not in Malta.
Yeah, because it's the backwater.
Right.
Yeah, so he is flying, he is fighting. In 4 days of flying, he becomes an ace. He takes down.
Wow.
He actually took down more than 5 planes, but he didn't get credit for those. So he's doing his thing, and I just want to make sure I get this right. So let me do this. So after he broke away and he landed, his immediate superior, his name is Dando Longley. I think he's also Canadian as well. Screwball can't say Dando Longley. He doesn't care that his name is Dando Longley. He calls Dando Longley Daddy Longlegs. He's got the D, he's got the L. That's close enough. You got it, Daddy Longlegs. I'll do it. And Daddy Longlegs says, you break away from the squadron one more time, and I will personally bounce you all the way back home, and you will never fly again. Screwball looks at him right in the eye, and there's absolutely no fear, and he goes, okay, boss, that's what you want? I'll play your game. That's what I'll do. I'll listen to you, because all I want to do is fly and fight. So he does that. So then there come a whole bunch of these incredible episodes where he goes up, and Dando Longley can see something in him. He's like, you're pissing me off. I want to punch you, but there's something about you. I think you've got the instincts to be a great pilot. So when they go up, Dando says, I'm going to go with my guys, and we're going to go after the bombers, and I want you to go to distract the fighters. Screwball goes, you got it, boss. But the first ME-109 that he sees is 800 yards away. That's way too far for a shot. You don't shoot more than 300 yards or you're wasting your bullets. And they've only got so many bullets. But the problem is the ME-109 that he spots just lined up behind one of his friends. And he's like, he knows within 10 seconds that guy's going to be splashed. And Malta can't afford to lose any pilots. They can't afford to lose any planes. So Screwball takes a sight, puts it ahead and above the German fighter. A couple seconds later, it starts to smoke. It rolls over. He just made an 800-yard shot, and he saved his friend's life. So anyways, so he does that time and time again. But the thing about Screwball is that he's not just an ace pilot with really good reflexes. He's a thinker. Because he doesn't have any friends besides one, because no one can stand to talk to him, he's always thinking about flying. He appreciates and he loves the science of air combat. What if I do this? What if I come in at this angle? What if I do this speed or whatever? And he has a little notebook that he keeps with him, kind of like Leonardo da Vinci, who kept a notebook with him, and he'd always write down these ideas. And he knows that he's going up practically every day, several times a day. And he knows he's going to get a chance to try out his theories. So as he goes up and as he takes on the Germans and the Italian pilots, he's tweaking himself. He's constantly tweaking himself. There's one point where he goes up and he's taking on two Italian Mach-E 202 fighters, very respectable aircraft, and they've got a lot of experience. So he gets to within 100 feet of one of these, not 100 yards, 100 feet. And I'll keep this clean, the Italian pilot's head falls off of the shoulder. Now, I don't know to this day if that's what Screwball was trying to do, but he loved to inflict pain on the enemy. So the other Italian pilot sees this, not for me, gets the heck out of there, and he goes home. And then there's this time where he just can't, he starts to break the rules again. But Dando can see what he's doing, so he just lets him go. You're my ace, you're my goofy ace, you're my uncontrollable ace, but you're my ace. He is going to go on and shoot down 27 aircraft.
Wow.
All kinds in 14 days.
In 14 days.
He's an ace, 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 plus 2. And this is just in the month of July, 1940. He's going to go on and do other things, but
wow.
yeah, so if I could stop for a second and zoom out, between Warby, between Screwball, they're roughly there at the same time. They're the ones who help keep Malta in the war. And they inflict horrible damage on the Italians, on the Germans. Oh, and there's this one, I got to tell you this is great. So Warby, Screwball is sent out, and he runs into two Mach-E 202 fighters. What we know with hindsight is that one of those Italian pilots is an ace. He's got 7 kills. He has set tons of speed and acrobat records. He's the real deal. He's one of the best the Italians have. Screwball obviously doesn't know any of this, so he goes up to the first plane, shoots, takes him out, and so now it's just Screwball, and I think his name was Doglio. So what should happen now is a masterclass of dogfight. Mm-hmm. No. It takes Screwball less than 10 seconds to go, take him out, and they both go crashing down. So both Italians are splashed within 10 seconds of each other.
Wow.
Screwball, he has used up very little fuel. He has used very few bullets. So he hangs out in the area, takes out 2 Me-109s, and then goes home. And that's
just a day.
That's just a day.
2 Italians, 2 Messerschmitts, I'm good.
One time he was jumped by a large number, because again, they're getting wise to him. He was jumped, and when he gets the heck out of there, when he lands, the crew is just counting bullet holes all through the plane, all through the wings, and Screwball goes, "That's nothing, take a look at this." And he shows him his heel. It was nicked by an explosive bullet. If it had gone off, his entire leg would have gone, and he would have bled out in a matter of seconds. But again, he just doesn't care, because all he wants to do is fly and fight. Nearly dying, don't waste my time. And again, like I said, 27 planes in 14 days. That's just beyond, but that gives you an idea of what Malta was going through, how many planes were being sent against it. But it's men like this who again, they cannot operate, they cannot go out and get a job, get married, have kids, and have a normal life. But if you remove all normalcy, if you stick in chaos, and you throw in a war, they're like, okay, this makes sense to me. I can do this. And they thrive. They go from misfits to heroes. Yeah.
The right person in the right place.
Yeah, but I do have to say that you have to give their officers some credit, because they're like, I don't know what's wrong with you. What the heck is wrong with you? But they recognize spark, that something, and it was their love of flying that eventually brought them around. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's just riveting, and I never knew that about Malta.
Yeah.
And yeah. Well, Ray, thank you so much for coming
Sure,
on, and
absolutely.
you know, we're gonna have you back. We're gonna talk about more stuff. But this has been just eye-opening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure if you haven't found Ray's podcast, it's called History of World War II.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. Podcast.
Yeah.
And at all the services, Spotify and all those, I think. I know I listen on Spotify, but check it out. It's amazing. Also, check out our sponsors. I've got them linked below. Without our sponsors, we can't do this. All our sponsors are run by pilots, so we keep it in the aviation family. So support them, supports us, and also support us by liking, sharing, subscribing. We'll see you guys next time in the hangar.